Hi everyone. Well, very exciting news. CND has innovated yet again and has launched Shellac Vivid. And here to tell us all about it, including some application tips and advice, and some handy kind of information to do with nail art and how you can really elevate your game, are two amazing nail pros and figureheads at CND. We have CND Education Ambassador and International Team CND member, Sammy Birkett-Leigh. Welcome, Sammy. Thank you for joining.
Hello. Thank you.
Hi. And we have Nataliya Al-Ta'ai, who is the Senior Education Manager for CND EMEA and Asia. So very, very big job. Thank you both for joining us today. So, for those eagle-eyed watchers out there, you may have noticed our striking April issue front cover, which features a nail design by Giselle Caballero, and it is using the CND Shellac Vivid range. And inside, we have a spread all about it. But Nataliya, tell us, what is Shellac Vivid?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having us. We're very excited to join you, and we're also very excited to spread the love for the upcoming innovation. CND Shellac Vivid is the next generation of nail artistry, especially when it comes to our shellac users. CND Shellac Vivid is a gel polish that features high opacity, high pigment that allows you to create absolutely incredible works of art. It's like it has the same science and formulation as CND Shellac, a regular line, but it just takes that to an extra level. Our R&D has spent almost 10 years working behind the scenes perfecting this formulation to allow our nail professionals to fall in love with it. So I'm so excited for everyone who is going to get their hands on it, because it just gives you endless possibilities when it comes to color application as a single color, but also there are so many things that you can do in art department.
And Sammy's going to talk us through some of those shortly, but how many shades are in the initial Shellac Vivid range?
So there are 7 shades, and that is a collection of primary and secondary colors. And the most incredible thing, Helena, about it is you can mix them together to create even more colors.
Amazing. Endless opportunities there, and also cost effective as well, because you don't need to buy loads of individual shades for your nail art needs. You can custom it.
Absolutely. And what I love about it is obviously CND Shellac is a premium service. And it's a breathable gel polish that gives your clients healthy nails, beautiful breathable formula with flawless butterfly removal that is unique to CND Shellac. But at the same time, it just, imagine the situation where a client comes in and asks for a particular color to match an outfit or a pair of shoes or a bag, and it's a very big event for them, and you just simply do not have the color. Because remember, we cannot have enough pinks, we never have enough blues, and we certainly do not possess enough reds for what our customers are asking. Because I even remember from my days in the salon, you give them a choice of 15 reds and you would not have the shade that they have in mind. But Shellac Vivid gives you that opportunity to be able to mix up the color right in front of your customer, that it's something that is not readily available to buy in a bottle, but also it's going to be unique to you if you totally understand and are an expert in color theory.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an important element. And we even thought about that. We even thought about that. There is, we've created a little art of vivid color guide that anyone will be able to download from cnd.com. And it's a little booklet that focuses on all of the color theory bits and bobs and tips and tricks, but very concise information, but it also gives you lots of ideas. So make sure you check out cnd.com and download the guide when it's available.
Fantastic. Always supporting the pro. And Sammy, you have created some amazing application videos. You are a nail art extraordinaire, an award winner. And we're going to kick off with something very cool that you can do with Shellac Vivid is custom blending with Brisa and Plexi Gel. So I'm going to start sharing a video now, if you wouldn't mind talking us through what's going on here and how it benefits the pros.
Yeah, and this is one of the really exciting things because obviously you don't want 100 different pots in your drawers. I mean, we've all gone through phases where we have had 100 different pots in our drawers, me included. But this is a great thing. It's a great tool because you can mix in Vivids into your Plexi and into your Brisa. So I'm starting with a full pot of Brisa gel in warm pink, my absolute favourite shade. But if you want to customize it, you can add 5 to 10%, no more than 10%. That's the most important thing. We need to make sure when we're doing any custom mixing that we're only mixing in the recommended amount, which is 5 to 10%. And because the Vivid shades are so highly pigmented, you definitely don't need more than 10%. So what I'm doing is just mixing in a little tiny bit of blush pink. And I wasn't even measuring the 5 to 10% at this point because it's a full pot. I put 1 drop. So because again it's so highly pigmented, you don't need to put an awful lot in. That's just 1 drop in that entire pot. And I'm making sure that I'm really mixing it in nice and slowly, not to whip up any air bubbles. You're going to apply it in exactly the same way as you would usually do. And you're going to make sure you store your pots afterwards in exactly the same way as you usually do. So you're making sure that we're in a nice, cool, dry place out of direct sunlight. Once those pots are open, as usual, they last 24 months. So hopefully, if you store them correctly, even mixed in with your Shellac Vivids, you are going to be able to keep them for exactly the same amount of time. Now, when we're mixing into Plexi, as you can see, you don't want to mix directly into your bottle because we can't really see how much we're mixing. We can't make sure we blend it in really well. So I'm using an opaque pot and I'm mixing in 2 shades. So this is a really cool thing because you can mix as many shades as you want to create custom blends. So I mix Red Carpet and Lazuli Blue to make this gorgeous mauve colour. And again, you're just making sure that you're not exceeding any more than 5 to 10%. You're taking a little bit of time to make sure that you're mixing it really well, nice and slowly. And as long as you store that pot correctly, as I advised before, it should last exactly the same as it usually would. Another thing to remember, but it's the same with all opaque gels, you've got to make sure that you're applying them in nice thin layers because, of course, UV light doesn't particularly love penetrating through thick layers, but it also doesn't love penetrating through opaque layers. So we're making sure that we're doing nice thin layers, and I've done 3 in this instance. So I've done my base layer and I've cued it. I've done my second layer and I've cued it. And I'm onto my 3rd layer now of building it up and curing it. And I make sure that I am curing it fully. So not just a flash cure, I am fully curing it for the full 1 minute on 2B. And there you go.
Beautiful.
Look at that colour. Isn't that a great colour?
And you can really see that opacity. The is a huge selling point for Shellac Vivid, and that beautiful smile line that you've got there. That and that was that 1 coat of the white that you used, or 2?
Yeah, 1.
Just 1 coat, and you get that kind of rich, like stark white, because that is called White Gloves, that shade, isn't it?
Yes, White Gloves.
Yeah.
I can't. You'll obviously we can go on and on and on about it as we always do. Like, oh, it's the best thing since sliced bread. But I am telling you now, when people get their hands on this, they are gonna love it for all aspects of. As Nataliya said, just it's great for every single nail tech. So for your nail techs that just do beautiful natural nail application, single colour, they're going to love it because the coverage is unbelievable. And also the fact that because of the consistency of it, you're never getting any bleeding into cuticles. You're never getting any bleeding into sidewalls. The control of the brush, it stays where you put it. So for those clients that are not doing any nail art whatsoever or any enhancements, they're still going to love it. So it isn't just for the nail art clients, the nail art techs, but obviously I love nail art, so I adore it. But for those techs that aren't doing any of that, you are still going to absolutely love it.
Amazing.
And Helena, I just want to jump in really quickly. There is a very interesting fact about the white glove. White gloves is a shade of shellac vivid that contains an optical brightener, which not only makes it our whitest white ever, but it also glows under black light.
Wow,
when you're in the clubs.
Get the rave hands up and you'll see white gloves everywhere. That's fantastic. We'll just have a little look because Sammy, you've done another video specifically focusing on white glove. So I am just going to pull that up so we can have a little bit of a closer look at the shade.
I know, isn't it? So obviously when we lay, this is the layering video, so I'm showing all the things that you can do. This is the first coat is one coat of white gloves, and then the second coat is of a traditional shellac colour. So as you can see, the coverage is absolutely phenomenal. And obviously with a white base, you're going to just create a brighter base and a brighter end result for anything that you're applying on top. Yeah. So of course, if you want to make anything brighter, you're going to apply white. But because of what Nat just said with the optical brightener, it is just the most beautiful white. But it isn't, you know, sometimes when you get a white and it almost has like a little blue tinge to it, it isn't like that. It is the whitest white. And as you can see, it just makes everything look amazing. It's a great piece.
Really pops and looks fantastic. And one of the other standout shades that is going to be perfect for outlines and details is Black Tuxedo. So we're just going to play that one here, if you wouldn't mind talking us through that.
Yeah, I mean, just look how inky it is. And again, it's one coat. So of course, you are going to be able to create anything that you want to apply on top. You're going to create a beautiful dark shade for underneath. But again, like you said, for any type of nail art, whether it's fine lines or, you know, or mixing in to do anybody that wants to do anything even more intricate, like your, I don't know, like your characters or anything like that, you can use it as a shader as well. So you can mix it into a little bit of top coat and you can create amazing shading. You can use it for the finest lines, or you can just use it like here to create a really gorgeous base for some layering.
Yeah, really nice.
I'd just like to, again, just emphasize the power of layering technique. Obviously, we know that we cannot mix regular CND shellac colors together because each of them has got a different formulation. But we can mix the shades of CND SHELLAC Vivid because it's like new technology that allows us to mix those colors to create a custom shade. But what do you do with the regular shellac colors when you can't mix them? You layer. And I am super passionate about that because I greatly believe that there is no need to have 400 bottles in a salon of different colors, because truth be told, out of those 400, you're probably only using 30, right? If we just be honest with each other. But when a client comes in and they want, you know, layering is such a powerful tool that allows you to make the colors darker, make the colors brighter, mute the colors, create combination to mask imperfections for the French manicure. And for that reason, we also have a CND Shellac layering guide that could be downloaded from cnd.com in the resources area that allows you to understand those techniques. So we can, of course, create recipes, and more recipes. But as soon as you understand the point behind the technique, what colors to layer over what, and obviously Vivid gives you that extra opportunity with its high opacity and pigmentation, you can create any color under the sun.
Endless opportunities for nail art and color. And you know, it's like you were saying earlier, it's when clients come in and they want that specific color to match, you know, a dress or an item of clothing or something to theme it around. It's giving that opportunity now because you've got this mix of primary and secondary shades. It's got everything you need in this collection to create the shades that you need. So yeah, it's such a wonderful range, and there's so much more you can do with it. And another thing that we have touched on is hand painting, and we're going to have a little look now at one of the hand painting videos that Sammy has created for us to demonstrate these techniques in effect.
Okay, going in with the white gloves, as you can see. So obviously the fact that it is so highly pigmented, and if I had a pound for every time I've said highly pigmented, but they are so highly pigmented. So it's an amazing tool to be able to create something without having to build up layers and layers and layers and layers to get that colour that you need. So obviously with our traditional shellac, which we all know and love, it wasn't designed to be applied in one layer. It just wasn't. It was designed to be applied in two. So if you're trying to create some nice thin nail art, it's kind of hard to get that depth of colour that you need. So when you're using Shellac Vivid, you only need that very one thin layer to get the look that you desire. And the best tips I can give is to treat it a bit like a liner gel. So you're going to take it onto a palette, and whatever brush you're using, whether you're using a fine lining brush, whether you're using a striping brush, you really want to make sure you load the brush to make sure you don't get that blob on the end. We hate the blob. We do not want the blob when we do a nail art. So when you dip into something, you're going to get a blob on the end. So to avoid the blob, we're going to take a little palette, we're going to decant a tiny amount, and we're going to really stroke and drag those bristles, whichever brush you're using, through to coat every single one. Then there's going to be no blob. And you can go straight in and create those detailed nail art designs and fine lines without having to worry about building up layers. So as you can see here, the depth of colour, the pigment, the way it goes on, it's so easy to use. Once you've loaded your brush, you're just good to go. You can see there, I can apply a stripe just with one little bit on the end of the brush. And the best thing about it is the fact that you're not having to build up those layers constantly. So what's happening is you can apply any chosen top coat and it's going to cover really well. So what we sometimes find is when you're building up layers of nail art, then you come to the end and you top coat it, and then you end up with a knobbly bobbly design, and then you've got to buff again and then reapply another top coat, maybe buff a bit more, another top coat, and that's fine. That's what we sometimes have to do. But the fact that you can cut out that extra work and the extra time, look at that. That's the Express 5 top coat. So it's the thinnest top coat, and it goes over and completely covers because that is so thin.
Cool. Looks amazing, and just such clean lines as well, Sammy. You're just so smooth. Look at you nailing the lines on that one. But
well, honestly, it's anyone that does nail art is going to love it. But anybody that's kind of struggling with nail art, and especially the newer pros that have obviously gone into using CND, love shellac, but are thinking, well, I can't do the art that I want to do with original shellac because you just can't sometimes. And then it disheartens you because you're not creating the looks that you want. You're seeing all these beautiful designs online or, wherever other clients are bringing it in. And you're thinking, but I don't have 50 liner gels, and I don't have, because if you're just starting out, you're not going to have all those things. So that's a really great tool for those. Obviously all the colours are fantastic, but for nail art especially, obviously black tuxedo is amazing.
It's such an essential in any nail art toolkit, I think, that one. But it still doesn't stop there. There's so much that you could do with Shellac Vivid, and now we're going to see a little video on stamping for those that maybe aren't quite as confident with hand painting or are working their way up to it. Stamping is a great speedy option for a very fitting salon manicure. So we're going to take a look at the stamping technique.
Helena, I think it's worthwhile spending a few moments just admiring how wonderful that is. And I do have a little bit of a private joke to share with you when it comes to stamping.
Okay.
And it's my favorite tale to say, you know. Obviously, we used CND shellac regular for stamping when we wanted to attach the foil or some pigment. But as we can see from the screen, we didn't really get that detailing. And so for many of us, when we stamped over shellac or any other CND enhancement systems, many of us chosen to use some other products to get that pigmentation. Well, now we don't need to. But I also want to tell you one more thing. Like, obviously, Sammy is a very, very talented nail pro, and we love her for everything that she does. And with all the years that she has been a global Team CND member and created so many wonderful assets for us, I don't think there is an end to what she can accomplish when it comes to that. But there is one thing she couldn't do. Like, if you think about her, she could, you know, take a nail tip and whip up a like spitting image of your dog or a cat with liquid and powder and paint all the details. But if you gave her a stamping plate and a stamper, that would be an ultimate disaster. She couldn't do it. Like, there was no way, like, no matter how many training sessions we had, it would be like, but now she's a convert. But I let her tell herself.
Yeah, that is so true. That is, honestly, I can't even say that she's exaggerating. I could not stamp to save my life, but I can now.
There we go. Shellac Vivid has made it all possible, and we're going to see a little bit more of your stamping technique shortly. But with that,
this is just so I can go back and do it now.
Well, you do it, and you do it fantastically, as we're going to see from this next video, because we're firstly going to look at chrome and how you have combined stamping with chrome to create some absolutely stunning results. So, yep, we will take a look at those now.
Yeah, and can I just say, I mean, this is the thing that I was actually most excited about, the fact that you can apply chrome directly to Shellac Vivid. How long have we been waiting for this? I can't tell you how long I've been waiting for this. If it was the one thing on my wish list, this was it. The fact that I had a product that I could do everything with, including applying chrome directly to it. So as with anything else, when you're trying to isolate the chrome, we need to make sure you either buff that finished nail to make it matte, or you're going to apply a matte top coat. Because what you want when you're applying the Vivid on top, you want obviously to isolate the chrome to that specific area. So you can see that's what I've done. The nail underneath is matte. And then I've applied the chrome with my silicone tool. So now look what's happening. I'm stamping directly over an enhancement, and look at the transfer. And honestly, this was the first attempt, and I promise you that's the truth. I just done it exactly as you would normally do, and I just stamped it on and cued it, and look at that. I'm applying chrome directly to it, and it is super shiny. It's super metallic, which is obviously what you want from a chrome. But the fact that you can do it just with well, it's not regular shellac, it's Shellac Vivid, but it's just your shellac out of the bottle, just the same as you would apply it normally, and it just comes out so amazing. But this is what it looks like before the top coat, so you can see how good the transfer is. And you can also see there how thin it is, and the fact that I've applied Express 5 and I'm getting absolutely no lumps or bumps. I wanted to show a full chrome application. So this is one of our over-the-top effects. I think this is lightning bolt. And so, no, I'm not having to apply any type of product between the Vivid and the chrome. So that's going straight on top of white gloves, not having to apply a tack-free top coat and no wipe top coat. So obviously saving time again. I mean, you think, well, it's not long, but if you're doing 5 clients a day with full coverage chrome, and you're having to paint the full 10 nails, you're having to then cure the full 10 nails. So that's a step that you're taking out. You're not having to apply that no wipe. You're going directly onto the white tuxedo, and it just, and same with all the colours. You're just going to burnish it in as you normally would, and then you get that beautiful metallic finish without having to apply anything in between.
So one thing that I would like to add to that is, obviously there are a lot of nail pros who chrome beautifully and never have any problems with it, because they figured out some ways, little tips, little tricks that they've picked up to make sure that even a client with high activity level would not chip their chrome, but there are also, unfortunately, some nail pros that are scared of chrome because they are a little bit mortified of the fact that it could chip and it doesn't work out for them. Well, we don't have to worry about that with this one. And so you just apply your 2 layers of Vivid and chrome as usual, with one exception. When we apply chrome on top of the no wipe top coat, we can apply significant amount of pressure because that's what we are looking for. We don't need to do that with Vivid. You want to keep your pressure a little bit lighter because this color coating is not yet protected by the top coat. So be gentle when you're burnishing chrome. And as you can see from Sammy's application, a little goes a long way. We don't want extra powder anywhere to get pixelated look. And when we buff it, we want to have a nice, light, feathery style pressure, not to disturb that color coating before we apply the top coat.
Fantastic. Oh, possibilities are endless as well, that to elevate nail artistry. And there's options there for you know, if you need to do things at speed throughout an appointment, or whether you've got a little bit longer. So you really can kind of adapt its uses to suit any client needs. And obviously, most importantly, bring in that profit as well. So, you know, have those, but that you know, you've got options there that can take maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then you've got some that can take a little longer. But make sure you're charging for those options, whatever they may be. And just finally, Sammy's done another amazing video, and we've touched on it ever so slightly earlier, but it's to do with fine lines and Vivid and what can be done. So we're going to take a look at that now.
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things that, again, is something that people really try to achieve. They maybe see designs and think, I can't do it. I'm not able to do it. I don't have all those different pots in my drawers, like I mentioned earlier. But again, you don't need to now. I mean, I've tried a million different things, and this works as good, if not better, than any of the liner gels that I've ever tried. And again, like I said in the hand painted video, what you're going to do is you're going to just make sure to get optimal success. You are preparing your brush. So you can see here I'm using a striping brush which I've customized. I've chopped a few hairs out of, and I'm making sure that I am decanting a little bit of Vivid, and I am really working the hairs through. And I know I've said this before, but it's really important because it means it's going to save you time during your appointment. You're not having to worry about the blob on the end. You're not having to keep picking up little amounts. You're loading your brush and you're going in, and you can see that I am able to do quite fine lines, very opaque and highly pigmented fine lines quite easily. I wanted to show blush pink as a fine line because, as you can see, it's blush. It's a very light colour. It's almost like a pastel shade, but you can see the fact that it's completely opaque even when you're applying those really super fine lines. So each and every shade, even the lightest one, blush pink, you can achieve the most amazing fine lines and nail art with. So look at the coverage. And again, like I said before, make sure that it makes sure that you don't have to apply so many layers of top coat at the end. Again, every single nail art video that I've showed, I've used Express 5 as a top coat just to show how thin the end result is of the Vivid, so that you don't have to apply a thick, bulky top coat at the end, because the last thing that we want is to apply an enhancement, then some nail art, then some bulky top coat, then you're going to end up with a big, thick, bulky nail. This is completely cutting any of that out. And something that isn't really to do with Vivid, but just as a quick side note, I've recently discovered that the best way to clean your nail art brushes at the end, especially your really thin ones and your fine liner ones, is to use a top coat. So for years, I've been thinking, why are my brushes drying out? And I've been using alcohol and various things to clean it. And I've gone back to using, I did try this a while ago, and I've gone back to using top coat to clean my nail art brushes, and it works wonders.
Oh, you heard it here first.
Just a little added extra. Yeah, as long as you, just take a little bit of top coat, get any of the excess colour out your brush first, and run it through, and then you can see the top coat kind of coming out of your bristles, but then it also primes your brush ready for the next time, and you're not having to worry too much about your bristles being really dry. So there you go, just a little extra there.
Go. An extra top tip from you. Thank you so much. Now we've seen throughout all of your amazing videos the 7 stunning shades in the Shellac Vivid range, which are, just to run through, black tuxedo and white gloves. We've got red carpet, yellow taxi, shamrock green, which we saw in that lovely grid nail, lazuli blue, and the blush pink, which we just saw as well, which is the lightest of the shades, but a really sort of beautiful, and like you said, great opacity, very highly pigmented. We'll put £1 in the pot for saying that one again. But beautiful shades. And Nataliya, when are these going to be available? Because people cannot wait to get their hands on them, I'm sure.
Look, we cannot wait as much as the people cannot wait, but they will be available from our official distributors globally May 1st.
May the 1st. And it's very good price points as well. I believe they're the same as the Shellac range, $14.95 plus VAT each if you are in the UK.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And may I use this opportunity and remind all the nail professionals of the power of education. And so with the launch of Vivid, there will also come some education events, but depending on where you are. But in the UK, of course, Sweet Square does an incredible job with education. And, you know, if you were on Tune in Tuesday with Sarah Marr, you would have already known about this product all the way back to the 1st of April. So spot out, make sure you follow the distributor, whichever country you're watching from, because our distributors will be hosting a variety of events throughout Europe and Asia. And obviously you will pick up some more tips and tricks, and that would be wonderful because, you know, in order to get the most out of the product, you would need to know all the bits and bobs that are very important. And, you know, we sometimes keep some secrets to our education classes as well.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both so much for giving us such a wonderful insight into this latest launch from the CND brand, Shellac Vivid. 7 very highly pigmented primary and secondary shades that will really help elevate your nail artistry. So thank you both for that insight.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Take care.